It says this in Psalm 119, 160, the sum of your word is truth, and every one of your righteous judgments is everlasting. So his word is truth, but I got something better. So basically, the Bible, okay, is true. It's truth. It doesn't cease to be truth just because we don't want it to be anymore. The truth is the truth. It will never cease to be the truth. And every one of your righteous judgments is everlasting. Now, this is a meme that I came up with about 5 years ago. Famous scene, A Few Good Men.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
And instead of saying you can't handle the truth, and this is kind of the play on the words here, because most people, unfortunately, I mean, this is just fact. I've learned this through the years. Most people cannot handle the truth. Most Bible believers, the Bible is too controversial for them. They cannot handle the truth. And this is what we read in Psalm 119, 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is truth. They're in bed together. The Torah is the truth. It does not cease to be the truth. And the Torah is in bed with righteousness. You cannot separate them. To separate the Torah from righteousness is to do away with righteousness itself. Again, this is what it reads. Psalm 119, 142. Let me just read this real quick. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is truth. Is that not beautiful? When I was in the 5th grade, so I would have been about 10 years old, my dad, of course, was a pastor, Protestant pastor, and it was Sunday morning. He was getting ready to give his sermon, and I learned through the years that on Sunday morning you leave your dad alone. you don't disrupt your dad. Not just talking to him personally, but you kind of avoid him and just let him do his thing and have peace and we wouldn't say shalom back then, but you have shalom in the house. He's got to get in the zone. He is getting in that, he's going to the fight, right? Like he's kind of the boxing match. He's in the locker room. He's prepping himself to get up there on stage and give the sermon. And I don't even remember what I did. I don't think it was that bad, but my dad was just agitated. I did probably, maybe I was bickering with my brother or something like that. Maybe I sass talked him. I don't even remember. I think it was one of those things I might have just passed him in the hallway and sneezed. I don't really know. But he's like, that's it. Yeah, he just went over the top. And he's like, that's it. I'm going to have you read the longest chapter in the Bible. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, what's it like? How bad was this? And I have to sit in my room. And he's like, yeah, don't even come out of your room until you have finished reading the longest chapter in the Bible. So I asked him which one, and it was Psalm 119. I'm telling you, this was the best punishment ever. It really was. My dad had me read Psalm 119. That thing changed my life in probably a lot more ways than he intended. Psalm 118 is beautiful. Righteousness. Yahweh is righteous in all his ways and faithful in all he does. Ezra 9:15, O Yahweh Elohim Yasharel, you are righteous. Psalm 116:5, gracious is Yahweh and righteous. Yes, our Elohim is merciful. Zephaniah 3:5, Yahweh is righteous. He is in her midst. He will do no unrighteousness, which means ongoing. He's not going to sin, guys. He's not going to transgress the Torah. He will never be unrighteous. It's kind of an awkward conversation that I think a lot of people are going to have when they get to heaven, and they spent their whole lives under this false, bad doctrine, which a doctrine that leads to destruction. But they get to heaven and they're like, I want to live with God forever. I want to be in his presence. And I want to, be a part of his 9 to 5 and work and be a servant for him. And they're going to be like, you mean he actually keeps the very thing that we were told not to do? Like, that's going to be a little bit awkward conversation for a lot of people to have. It's better to have that conversation now. Psalm 19:9 says, the ordinances of Yahweh are sure and altogether righteous. 1 Peter 3:12, for the eyes of Yahweh are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayer. But the face of Yahweh is against those who do evil. What is doing evil? Well, it's obviously here the opposite of being righteous. And I could show you, of course, the passage in Scripture which says that the prayer of those who do not keep the Torah are an abomination unto him. And so, yeah, so there's that right there. The eyes of Yahuwah are on those who conform. Let's just insert here righteousness, those who conform to the way and the words and the lifestyle and the very character of his Father in heaven. 1 Peter 3:12. The Torah and the prophets were proclaimed until, oh boy, here we go. This is, okay. Let me start again. The Torah and the prophets were proclaimed until John came, or you can say until Yochanan came. Since that time, the gospel, the kingdom of Elohim has been preached, and everyone is forcing his way into it. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one stroke of a letter of the Torah to fail. So a lot of people will take this to mean that what Messiah is saying there is that, yeah, Moses and the Torah, you've read all about those guys. You know, that was practiced and preached up until John, but no longer. Say, well, wait a second here, because that can't be, because the prophets prophesied of many things Messiah would do. So if he's saying that it ended with John, now he cannot even fulfill the Torah. But then we get into heaven and earth passing away. And I've seen much about this. I've seen, people saying that, well, heaven and earth did pass away in 70 AD or this date or that date. As far as I'm concerned, that's not even Hebrew thinking. All right. Like they're looking at it from a very Greek perspective, because look at how Peter, apparently he didn't get the memo, but 2 Peter 3:13 says this. But in keeping with his promise, we are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth. Now, okay, so in Peter's day when he wrote this, they were looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth. This is the very guy who talks about how we are living stones, right? You could say, well, yeah, but 70 AD, it did pass away. But then look how he finishes the sentence. We are looking forward to a new heaven and a new earth where righteousness dwells. And I've already shown you, like in Peter's thinking, there is no righteousness apart from the Torah. There is no righteousness apart from his. I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record tonight, but that's what the Bible is anyways. It just repeats the same thing over and over again, and people refuse to see it. There is no righteousness apart from our Father's character. So in Peter's thinking is that you can do away with heaven and earth all you want. That does not mean he, as Messiah's number one disciple, as the graduating class of 30 AD or whatever, this guy is telling us that when Messiah talks about heaven and earth passing away and the jot and the tittle and all that, righteousness is here to stay. It is eternal because the Torah itself is eternal.
Forever. 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 Forever.
Hey, Polyhart here. Was calling my dad this morning, wishing him a Happy New Year, and he said, hey, Happy New Year back, son. And he was listening to Alexander Scornby read the book of Ezekiel on audiobook, and I was like, that's awesome. I love listening to good translations, but the thing is, with a lot of times when I go to research biblical translations, I want to look up a passage, I want to see what the original Hebrew says, and I want to see what the real meaning is behind it, and I can't find a lot of good translations out there. I go to BibleHub.com, 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 and I go there and I'll look at each word and find out what the best solution is to this verse. If I want to try to look at something in the context of something else, really interesting stuff. My friend Pamela Glasgow is translating the entire Bible into the Paleo-Hebrew, the first written language of the Hebrews. It was Paleo. It was like a pictorial language. It's not only spelt and built, it's a unique pictorial language, kind of like the Chinese or Japanese or Korean is a pictorial language as well as a said language and a spelt language. When you add a different thing to the end, it creates the entire idea from the beginning, makes it a new idea. So Paleo-Hebrew, really impactful. and we are raising money for her to do that for a full-time job / business / career / ministry. And Noel Hadley with the unexpectedcosmology.com is leading the charge on getting her translations out to the world. So below, I'm going to list a link on how you can give to see the Paleo-Hebrew Bible come to its full fruition. Also, she's got some of the Bible, I believe all the Torah, and some of the Psalms are being done now. It's a continual work, but I'm excited. It's going to be spectacular. So how you can help this come to pass is by your financial gift, your giving to Pamela, so that she can continue on in the calling of her life, which it's going to be awesome. One day I want to go to BibleHub.com and see the Paleo-Hebrew as well, which would be mind-blowing. So you have a good day, and I'll see you later. Bye.